Treasury website today, the word recession cracking up to ram home its concerns about leaving the EU. But do the numbers in the report deserve these big red letters? We asked economist and former Treasury analyst Jonathan Portes. They've said there'd either be a shrinking of the British economy of 3.6% or 6%. Do you buy it?
I think that the broad direction of the effects that are predicted here would be signed up to by most economists. The actual numbers, no.
The Treasury forecast doesn't include the Bank of England intervening or a future government cutting taxes to prop up the economy if it's struggling outside the EU. Instead, it looks at how British life might be hit. But they have given us some numbers. Let's look at them in turn. What about housing?
Well, they're saying that house prices would fall by 10 to 18%. But that's relative to a projection that they'll increase by 10%. So even in the worst case scenario, house prices will be falling by 8%. That's really not the end of the world. Indeed, it might not be a bad thing.
What about the next measure, which is unemployment?
Well, here the Treasury are being quite pessimistic. They're saying that unemployment would rise by up to 800,000 in the worst case scenario. Given how well the UK labour market performed during the last rather nasty recession, that seems to me to be very much on the high side.
And then the last important measure would be earnings.
Well, what they're saying here is essentially that there would be a large fall in the pound. That in turn would push up inflation, and that is what would push down real wages, not wages in cash terms. That seems to me to be plausible given the assumptions that they're making.
No recession is a good thing, but all of these numbers in this document actually seem to suggest that any recession we might have wouldn't be terrible.
Well, all we're talking about here is the impact of uncertainty on the economy. Remember, nothing actually happens in terms of government policy or our relationship with the European Union within the first 2 years. So the effects of that are, by necessity, quite limited. So yes, this would be a recession under their scenario, but it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Treasury civil servants are not the only people that have tried to crunch these numbers. Independent analysts and academics have done it before, but the numbers they've come up with are not as gloomy as the government's today. In this referendum so far, only the Remain camp have had the Treasury at their disposal. With election rules kicking in this week, that will now stop as this referendum enters its last, even more frenzied stage. Allegra Stratton, News at 10.